Have you ever been betrayed by someone you trusted? Maybe a friend, a partner, or even a colleague. That gut-wrenching feeling of deception, the anger, the disbelief, it's something we all experience at some point. But here's the real question. How do you respond? Do you let the pain consume you? Do you seek revenge? Or is there a way to handle betrayal with wisdom, strength, and peace? The ancient Stoics faced betrayal just like we do today. But instead of reacting with bitterness, they mastered a mindset that allowed them to remain unshaken. In this video, we'll break down 10 Stoic strategies for dealing with betrayal, not just in theory, but in ways you can apply to your own life right now. By the end, you'll see betrayal not as a curse, but as a test of your resilience, one you can pass with clarity, strength, and dignity. Let's begin. Number 1, betrayal is an opportunity for growth, not resentment. Betrayal cuts deep because it comes from those we trust, friends, family, partners, colleagues. It shakes the foundation of our expectations. But as Seneca reminds us, a setback has often cleared the way for greater prosperity. Many things have fallen only to rise to more exalted heights. It's easy to see betrayal as purely negative, as an unfair wound inflicted upon us. But what if we reframe it? What if, instead of resenting it, we see it as a necessary shift, one that forces us toward growth? Imagine a business partner who secretly siphons money from your venture, leaving you financially wounded and filled with rage. The initial response is betrayal's bitter taste, the replaying of every interaction where trust was assumed but false. But anger and resentment achieve nothing. The Stoic does not ask, "Why me?" but instead, "What now?" This moment, painful as it is, strips away illusion and demands a choice. Remain in bitterness or adapt and grow. History is filled with figures who turned betrayal into their advantage. A trusted friend conspires against you. Now you see their true nature and can build your future without their deceit lurking in the background. A romantic partner is unfaithful. It's a painful lesson, but one that redirects you to self-respect and someone more aligned with your values. Betrayal is a teacher, revealing what you were blind to before. This isn't about suppressing emotion. The Stoic acknowledges the sting of betrayal, but refuses to be trapped by it. What good is resentment? Does it undo the past? Does it make the betrayer suffer? It only chains you to the very person you should be moving beyond. Instead, Stoicism asks you to use betrayal as a catalyst. Perhaps this setback leads you to a better job, a stronger relationship, a sharper sense of discernment. Many things have fallen only to rise again. That includes you. Number 2, you control your response, not their actions. Betrayal is a test, one that often feels like a forced hand. You're wronged, so anger is inevitable, right? But Epictetus warns, if someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. The Stoic understands this deeply. It is not the betrayal itself that causes suffering, but our interpretation of it. Let's say a close friend reveals something deeply personal about you to others, breaking your trust. The common reaction is outrage, maybe even retaliation. But does their betrayal force you to react that way? Or is it simply your expectation that they shouldn't have acted in such a manner that causes the pain? Reality is indifferent to how we think people should behave. It only reveals how they actually behave. You can scream about how unfair it is, or you can accept it and decide what to do next. This is not to say Stoicism advocates indifference in the sense of apathy. It means recognizing that emotions arise, but they do not have to control you. The Stoic asks, "What is in my power here?" Your friend's actions number? Their betrayal is already done, but your response? That is yours alone. You can sever ties without bitterness. You can move on without vengeance. And most importantly, you can refuse to let their actions dictate your peace. A modern Stoic recognizes that expecting perfection from others is a recipe for disappointment. People will fail you. That is reality. But if you let every betrayal dictate your emotional state, you are at the mercy of the world's instability. The goal is not to harden yourself to the point where you feel nothing. The goal is to master your response so that external events do not shake your foundation. No one enjoys betrayal. It is unpleasant, frustrating, even heartbreaking. But the deeper pain comes from our refusal to accept what has already happened. The more we resist reality, the more we suffer. The Stoic approach is not to excuse betrayal, but to accept it as part of life. You cannot always control what others do, but you can always control how much power you give them over your peace. Number 3, expect betrayal, but don't let it change your nature. Betrayal, no matter how much it stings, should never make you betray yourself. It's easy to become cynical after being wronged, to close yourself off, to harden your heart, to view every new person with suspicion. But Epictetus reminds us, a good person is invincible, for they do not rush into contests in which they are not the stronger. If you want to put me to the test, offer me money, or danger, or exile. But you will never force me to act against my nature. A modern Stoic understands that betrayal is part of the human experience. It has always existed, and it always will. If you expect people to never deceive, disappoint, or abandon you, you are setting yourself up for suffering. People act in accordance with their nature, not your expectations. Some people will always choose greed over loyalty, self-interest over integrity. You can't control that. But what you can control is whether or not you let their actions poison your character. Imagine a business leader who is betrayed by a close colleague. They worked together for years, shared struggles, built something meaningful, only to be undercut in a secret deal. The temptation is to respond in kind, to retaliate with the same deceit, to become just as ruthless. But what does that achieve? The leader would no longer be acting according to their principles, but instead reacting to someone else's. This is how people lose themselves. The true test of character is whether you remain steadfast in who you are, regardless of what others do to you. If you're kind, continue being kind. If you're honest, remain honest. Let others act in a dishonorable way if they choose, but never let it shape you into something you are not. To betray your own values is a far greater loss than any betrayal by another. Number 4, the betrayer hurts themselves more than you. When someone betrays you, it's natural to feel as if you are the victim. You might feel humiliated, foolish, or like something has been taken from you. But Marcus Aurelius reminds us, when someone does you wrong, do not think of it as an injury, but rather as their own mistake. This is a radical shift in thinking. Instead of seeing betrayal as something done to you, see it as something the betrayer has done to themselves. A person who betrays others is revealing their own weakness, their own lack of integrity. It is their flaw, not yours. Consider a partner who is unfaithful in a relationship. The initial reaction is often deep pain, self-doubt, or rage. How could they do this to me? But a Stoic would flip the perspective. How could they do this to themselves? What kind of person acts in deception, erodes trust, and creates suffering? One who lacks discipline, one who is enslaved by their desires, one who is weak. The betrayer walks away from the situation less whole than before. They have damaged their own character, their own reputation, their own sense of self. If you allow yourself to be consumed by resentment, you carry their burden. Why would you do that? Instead, the Stoic sees betrayal as a revelation. You now have more knowledge about who they truly are, and you are free to move forward with clarity. It is also important to recognize that people who betray others often continue to suffer from their own actions. A dishonest business partner will eventually be distrusted by others. A faithless friend will find themselves surrounded by shallow relationships. They do not escape unscathed. Life has a way of exposing those who act without virtue. You don't need to take revenge. Their choices will bring their own consequences. Knowing this, a Stoic does not dwell on betrayal. There is no need to rage or seek justice from the universe. The betrayer has already received their sentence. They have to live with the kind of person they are. Number 5, resentment is a prison you build for yourself. One of the greatest traps of betrayal is the lingering resentment that follows. Seneca warned us of this tendency when he said, "He who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than is necessary." What does resentment do but extend the suffering? Let's say a trusted friend steals credit for your idea at work. The betrayal stings. You replay the situation over and over in your head, your mind burning with injustice. You feel anger every time you see them. But what does this accomplish? Does it undo the betrayal? Does it make the situation better? No, it only keeps you tethered to the past. A modern Stoic understands that resentment is a form of self-punishment. The person who betrayed you has moved on. Meanwhile, you are still reliving the moment, still giving them power over your emotions. This is why Seneca's wisdom is so crucial. Suffering only lasts as long as you let it. The key is acceptance. This does not mean approval. It simply means acknowledging that what happened, happened. It cannot be changed. It is now part of the past. A Stoic asks, "What is in my control?" The event is not, but my perception of it, my attachment to it, my emotional response, those are within my control. Resentment is the equivalent of gripping a burning coal and expecting the other person to feel the pain. The only person it harms is you. Letting go does not mean forgetting, nor does it mean allowing yourself to be betrayed again. It means freeing yourself from the needless burden of carrying hatred. It means refusing to let another person's actions dictate your peace of mind. There is power in moving forward. There is power in indifference to past wrongs. The Stoic does not waste their energy on resentment. They invest it in their own growth, their own virtue, and their own future. What has happened has happened. The only question left is whether you will choose to suffer from it endlessly, or leave it behind and reclaim your peace. Number 6. Detach from the illusion of permanence. Betrayal hurts because we expect things to last. Relationships, friendships, loyalties. We convince ourselves that trust, once built, is unbreakable. But the world does not work that way. Marcus Aurelius understood this when he wrote, "Everything that happens is as familiar and expected as a rose in spring or a fruit in summer." In other words, nothing is permanent. Betrayal is not an anomaly. It is part of the natural order of things. If you accept this truth, you will no longer be shocked when it happens. Consider a friendship that spans a decade. You share secrets, laughter, and unwavering support. Then, one day, you find out this friend has spoken behind your back, revealing your vulnerabilities to others. The common reaction is disbelief. How could they? We've known each other for years. But what is the true error here? It is not in their betrayal. It is in your expectation that loyalty is fixed, that people do not change. A modern Stoic understands that everything in life is transient. People grow, people shift, and sometimes people break the trust they once held. This is not a tragedy. It is simply reality. The same way that seasons change, people change. A leaf does not cling to its branch in autumn, nor should you cling to relationships that have run their course. Does this mean we should not trust? Not at all. It means we should trust with an understanding of impermanence. Expect nothing to last forever, and betrayal loses its power. You are not devastated because something rare and unnatural has happened. You are simply seeing the world for what it is. Accepting impermanence allows you to move forward without bitterness. A betrayed Stoic does not waste time lamenting the past. They acknowledge what has happened, recognize that it was always a possibility, and continue onward with peace. Number 7. Revenge is a waste of your energy. When betrayed, the most natural impulse is to strike back. You want justice. You want them to feel the pain they caused you. But Marcus Aurelius reminds us how much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it. Revenge is seductive because it offers the illusion of balance. You were wronged, and by retaliating, you believe you are restoring fairness. But is that true? What actually happens when you seek revenge? You prolong your suffering. You keep yourself emotionally tethered to the person who wronged you. You trade your peace for a fleeting moment of satisfaction that ultimately leaves you empty. Consider a scenario in which a business partner betrays you, stealing your clients and undercutting your work. You are furious. You fantasize about exposing them, about ruining their reputation. But what does this actually achieve? You are now spending your time, your energy, your thoughts, your life focused on them. They have already taken something from you, and now, by obsessing over revenge, you are giving them even more. A modern Stoic recognizes that the best response to betrayal is not revenge, it is detachment. The greatest insult to someone who has wronged you is to move on and thrive, completely unaffected. Imagine the strength in simply walking away, indifferent to their actions. Does this mean there should be no consequences for the betrayer? Not at all. But those consequences should come naturally, through their own choices, rather than from your need for vengeance. A dishonest person will eventually be distrusted. A backstabber will eventually find themselves surrounded by others just like them. Life has a way of correcting itself. The Stoic does not interfere. They simply watch, detached and unshaken. There is no greater show of strength than to be wronged and remain unmoved. Number 8. Betrayal reveals true friends from false ones. Betrayal is painful, but it serves a purpose. It separates those who were truly meant to be in your life from those who never were. Seneca wisely advised, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve. The process is mutual, for men learn while they teach." True friendships, true relationships, true alliances, they are not fragile. They do not crumble the moment self-interest is tested. When someone betrays you, they are showing you that they were never as aligned with you as you thought. This is not a loss. It is a gift. You now see them clearly. Imagine discovering that a friend has been speaking poorly about you behind your back. Your initial reaction is pain, perhaps even anger. But a Stoic reframes this moment. Good, now I know. Would you rather continue in ignorance, trusting someone who does not truly stand by you? Or would you rather see the truth and adjust accordingly? Betrayal refines your circle. It removes the weak links. It eliminates those who were never truly invested in your well-being. And this is something to be grateful for. Every time you are betrayed, you become more discerning. You learn to read people better, to trust with more wisdom, to surround yourself with those who are genuinely worthy of your time. The modern Stoic does not dwell on the pain of betrayal. They use it as a tool for clarity. They do not beg for loyalty where it does not exist. They do not mourn relationships that were built on false foundations. Instead, they walk forward with a lighter load, surrounded by those who truly deserve to be in their life. This is how betrayal becomes a filter, not a wound. Number 9. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. Betrayal hurts. There's no denying that. When someone you trusted deceives you, it feels like a punch to the gut, a violation of something sacred. But the truth is, the pain of betrayal is not what destroys us. It's the way we hold on to it. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, pain is neither unbearable nor unending, as long as you keep in mind its limits and do not exaggerate it in your imagination. A modern Stoic understands that pain is part of life. It comes and goes like waves in the ocean, and like waves, it passes if we allow it to. Suffering, however, is something we create ourselves. It is the resistance to pain, the refusal to let go, the endless replaying of past events in our minds. Let's say a longtime romantic partner cheats on you. The betrayal is real, and so is the pain. You feel the shock, the anger, the heartbreak. But what happens next? Many people continue to suffer long after the betrayal has passed, not because the event is still happening, but because they keep feeding the pain. They revisit old conversations. They ask, "What if?" over and over again. They construct alternate realities in their minds where things went differently. They allow the pain to linger, giving it more power than it ever deserved. A Stoic approach is to acknowledge the pain, but not to become enslaved by it. Yes, this happened. Yes, it hurt. And now it is over. The pain will come, but it does not have to stay. You do not have to carry it with you for years, dragging it like a weight. The betrayal is done. The only thing left to decide is whether you will move forward or continue to suffer by choice. This is not about repressing emotions or pretending betrayal does not hurt. It does. But what Stoicism teaches is that emotions are like passing weather. You experience them, and then you let them go. Holding on to them indefinitely is a form of self-inflicted suffering. A modern Stoic does not dwell. They recognize that pain is fleeting, that time will dull its sharp edges. The moment you stop feeding it, it begins to fade. And so, instead of endlessly reliving what happened, the Stoic redirects their mind to the present, to what can be done, to where life continues. The pain was inevitable, but the suffering? That was always a choice. Number 10. Your peace is worth more than your grudges. After betrayal, the easiest thing to do is to hold a grudge. You may feel justified in your resentment, believing that anger is a form of justice. But Epictetus reminds us, if you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. This might seem like an odd response to betrayal, but its meaning is profound. True strength is found in letting go, not in proving your anger. A Stoic is not concerned with how others perceive them. They do not hold on to grudges just to appear strong. They do not seek revenge just to satisfy their ego. They know that their peace is more valuable than proving a point. Think about the energy it takes to hold on to resentment. Every time you think about the betrayal, every time you replay the event in your head, every time you feel the anger rise up again, you are giving more of your life to the person who wronged you. They may have betrayed you once, but by holding on to hatred, you are allowing them to betray you again and again in your own mind. Imagine two former business partners. One of them deceives the other in a deal, taking more than their fair share. The betrayed partner has two choices: spend years consumed by bitterness, talking about the injustice to everyone who will listen, seeking ways to get back at them, or they can walk away, accept what happened, and focus on building something even greater. Which person truly wins in the end? The one who lets go, who refuses to let their peace be stolen. This does not mean you forget what happened or trust blindly in the future. It simply means you refuse to let the past hold power over you. A grudge is a heavy burden to carry, one that drains your energy and keeps you tethered to the very thing you want to move beyond. The Stoic response to betrayal is not revenge. It is not resentment. It is simply this: indifference. Not because you are weak, but because your peace matters more. You do not waste time proving a point to those who do not deserve it. You move on, you grow, and you leave the betrayer to deal with their own actions. In the end, it is the person who lets go who truly wins. Peace is worth more than any grudge, and the Stoic understands that nothing is more valuable than a mind that remains unshaken. Betrayal is painful, but it does not have to define you. The Stoics teach us that we cannot control what others do, but we can control how we respond. Holding on to resentment, chasing revenge, or letting anger dictate your actions only keeps you trapped in the past. Instead, a Stoic moves forward, detached, wiser, and unshaken. If you've been betrayed, let this be your moment of clarity. Accept what happened, learn from it, and most importantly, don't let it change your nature. The best revenge, indifference, and success. If you found this video valuable, consider subscribing for more Stoic insights on handling life's challenges with wisdom and resilience. Thanks for watching, and remember, the only power betrayal has over you is the power you give it. If you found this video helpful, please like and share it to spread the wisdom of Stoic philosophy. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss future videos on Stoic living and personal growth. Thank you for watching, and I wish you strength on your journey.